Hello everybody, it's Neko here, and in this week's video I'll be doing another doll face up. This girlie was a Christmas gift from my friend Steph with the specific instructions to do something with it, so that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to make this girl into a mermaid, so I began by removing her current face up and washing it off with warm soapy water to remove any acetone residue. Then I sealed the face with 2 layers of sealant before I began the face up. You may notice that I have a bit of a different camera setup this week, and I apologise for the first half of this video is going to be a bit weird, but then about halfway through I get the hang of it and you can sort of see a lot better, but I think this is going to be my setup from now on just because it's a lot easier. Anyway, I had a bit of difficulty drawing the eyes on such a tiny face, so I had to work around this by making sure my pencils were absolutely pin sharp and gradually build up the colour with a mix of pastels, watercolours and acrylic paint. Every time I could no longer build up any colour on the doll's face, I would seal it with a thin layer of sealant before continuing, and I did this about 6 or 7 times until the very end. For the eyes, I used a mix of watercolour pencils and acrylic paint to make the eyes a lot smoother. I roughly drew out where I wanted the eyes to be and then painted in the irises with a light pink watered down paint. Once I was happy with the smoothness and the coverage, I went back over with purple and blue pencils just to give the eyes a multi-toned effect. Moving on to the tail, I had a rough idea how to make this, but I had no real plan in mind. So I began by moulding some tinfoil into a cone shape, which was wide enough to slot the doll's waist into. Then I kept building and adding onto the tail until I was happy with the length and the shape of it. Once I was happy with that, I shaped the tail so that the doll could sit upright, before I covered the entire thing in air dry clay. This is actually my first time working with air dry clay, and I'm pleased to say that it's a lot easier to work with than it looks, and it didn't leave much of an odour. In any case, I use water to smooth out the clay, and I use a hairdryer to speed up the drying process before using some sandpaper just to smooth out any difficult areas. I made rough thin shapes from rolled out clay and then pulled and pinched the sides to make them thinner and giving them a more natural ruffle. After I was happy with the tail and let it completely dry, I tried colouring it with a mix of brown, purple and green pastels, though I gave up this approach when I tried to attach it to the body and decided just to paint the entire thing in a light green before I went back to the pastels afterwards to give the tail a more iridescent feel. When painting the small beads around her waist, I painted them yellow and then sealed the entire doll for the last time, before adding final touches to the beads with gold acrylic paint and then mixing said acrylic paint with some water and brushing it over the tail to give it a more magical shimmer. For my first attempt at making a doll like this, I'm fairly happy with her. The tail itself wasn't too difficult to make and is fairly sturdy on its own, though I wouldn't recommend using it as a toy, it's more of a display item. The colour stuck really well to the plastic considering that it was a cheaper doll, although there was some staining on her original face up, like her eyebrows, that I just couldn't for the life of me budge, but then again I covered them up with the best of my ability, and at least the eyebrows are symmetrical now. In any case, that's it from me this week guys. As always, leave your suggestions for craft creations in the comments box below, and I'll be back to see you next week with a brand new video. Take care guys, bye.